like my.
Four Rooms was good.
Oh yeah, Four Rooms.
Memory
I love
serves.
that.
Ione Skye got naked in that one, so that's why I remember that one a little bit more than maybe the others.
There you go.
Just saying, I'm just being honest here, guys. Welcome to Rock and Roll Book Club, where we discuss books by and about musicians and the music business. I'm Dave, and on this episode, me and my co-host, Shelley and Jen, are discussing Say Everything by Ione Skye. Now, we know what you're thinking. Ione Skye is not a musician, and she's not in the music business. How does her book qualify for Rock and Roll Book Club? Well, let me explain. Ione Skye is the daughter of 1960s folk artist Donovan. As a teen, she dated Red Hot Chili Peppers frontman Anthony Kiedis. In her 20s, she married Adam Horovitz of the Beastie Boys, and she is currently married to Australian singer-songwriter Ben Lee. So, she may not be a musician herself, but she has spent much of her life around some of the most famous rock stars of the last few decades. But most of us know Ione from her acting career. She began acting at age 15, and her very first role was in the iconic movie River's Edge. After only a few years in Hollywood, Ione Skye landed the role that would make her legendary, Diane Court, in Say Anything. She starred alongside John Cusack in the iconic teen movie, which also served as Cameron Crowe's directorial debut. The movie left an indelible mark on kids of that generation and of those that followed. Ione also appeared in Gas Food Lodging, Four Rooms, Wayne's World, and more than 70 other films and TV shows. She has been a successful working actress for decades. In Say Everything, Ione Skye sheds light on the complicated relationship with her father, Donovan, as well as her relationships with many famous men and women over the years. From those who only remember her from the 80s and 90s, the book definitely catches you up with all that she's been involved with since her heyday. As with most of our episodes, we do want to offer a quick content warning. This book is definitely not safe for work or safe to be viewed or listened to with young kids around. Thanks, as always, for watching Rock and Roll Book Club.
Welcome to Rock and Roll Book Club. I'm here with my co-hosts Jennifer and Dave. And today we are talking about Ione Skye's book, Say Everything. And let me just answer the question that's probably in everybody's head. Why are you covering Ione Skye's book? She is not a musician, nor is she involved in the music industry. And that's an excellent question. But the answer is that she really has lived a life with musicians in her life throughout. So her dad is Donovan Leitch. If you will recall the songs Sunshine Superman, Hurdy Gurdy Man. Dave, I'm missing one.
I have them.
Go, Jen.
Dave's like, this is your genre, Jen. Go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead. I knew those two.
Man from Atlantis, Jennifer Juniper, Sunshine Superman. I think you already said that.
That's a good one. I like that one.
So that's Donovan, her dad. As we'll discuss, she hung out with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, knew Flea, dated Anthony Kiedis, was married to Adam Horovitz from the Beastie Boys. So lots of musical connections in her life. And so we thought, well, it does involve the music industry, and let's just go for it. So here we are.
So Ione Skye is an actress who came to prominence in the mid to late 80s. She was a bit of a late 80s, early 90s it girl, was a very famous movie star for a brief period of time, has been a working actress the entire time, but her time as a movie star was really more in the late 80s. Best known for movies like River's Edge. Say Anything is probably her best known movie. A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon. Let's see here. She's also been in Gas Food Lodging, Wayne's World, a bunch of other movies, some very successful, some, kind of just on the periphery. That's right. She is the daughter of 60s pop star Donovan, and she does have famous relationships with rock stars, including Anthony Kiedis, Adam Horovitz of the Beastie Boys, And she's currently married to Ben Lee, who's an Australian singer-songwriter. So she has tie-ins with music. She's not actually a musician herself, but she is an actress who's had a fair measure of success in her career. I think anyone, male especially, I suppose I'll speak for my gender, but if you were alive in the late 80s, you had a little crush on Ione Skye. I mean, she was just so pretty in Say Anything, and that has left an indelible mark on a lot of men's memories and psyches or whatever, because she was just so perfect in that movie. Now, I've followed her a little bit. I'm familiar with some of those other movies that I mentioned. Obviously, River's Edge, of course, because that was beforehand, and Wayne's World. But I haven't followed her that much since then. I mean, I think a person could be excused for thinking, what has she done since the early 90s? She's done a lot, actually. If you look at her IMDb page, she's been working almost the entire time. But yeah, her best known stuff is that, River's Edge and Say Anything and Wayne's World and those kind of movies. Those are still her best known roles.
Yeah, she's done a lot of indie stuff, which is cool. I remember, I haven't watched it since it came out, but Gas Food Lodging, I remember loving that.
Good.
Yeah.
I think
that was like
Four Rooms was good.
Oh yeah, Four Rooms.
Memory
I love
serves,
that.
Ione Skye got naked in that one, so that's why I remember that one a little bit more than maybe the others.
There you go.
I'm just being honest here, guys.
And that's what we do here at Rock and Roll Book Club.
Yeah.
Lead with honesty.
Yeah.
I love Fast Food Lodging. That was like my intro into the indie film world. Like that was one of my first ones where I'm like, this is so cool. And I kind of went down that whole genre of indies, and like I'm still there a little bit, but I don't have as much patience anymore.
I need to revisit that movie. I haven't seen that in probably 30 years.
It's
I need
great.
to rewatch that.
It is great. I mean, I fell in love with it.
Yeah, I want to rewatch it too. That came out, I think, when I was in college, and I was really into film and was in film classes and reviewed films for the college newspaper. So I was like deep in, and
this will always be my favorite though for Ione Skye. I mean, this is her most iconic movie. And I think if you really boiled it down, there are a lot of people who only know her from that one film. Mine were that I liked her in a couple of movies. I knew her from Say Anything and a couple Four Rooms and Gas Food Lodging, etc. I thought she was beautiful. But besides that, I didn't really know too much about her other than her romantic relationships. The fact that she was married to King Adrock and now she's married to Ben Lee and that kind of stuff. So my impression of her was I liked her, but I also thought of her as a person from the past, like an actress from the late 80s, early 90s. Kind of wondered, what is she up to these days? Not looking at her IMDb or anything like that. I guess that would have been my impression.
How about you, Jen?
I'm with Dave. I mean, I don't have anything against her. I just, you know what I mean? I liked her in the films I've seen her in. She's just not on my radar. But I definitely was obviously interested in this book because I told you, Shelley, I downloaded it right like 2 seconds before you texted him. We're like, let's do this book. So yeah, I mean, that's really funny. Yeah. I mean, I was literally downloading it. I know. Same wavelength. So yeah, I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed learning more about her.
Yeah, honestly, same. I echo your sentiments. I knew her and liked her in those movies. Always thought she was beautiful. I think she has a really unique look that, maybe I have a little bit of a girl crush on her. I'm not sure. I think she's very beautiful.
She does like women. So you'd be okay with that. If you did.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to have to like women. That's the
right. That's the hurdle, I guess. But still.
Listen, I don't know what I would do. Maybe listen, give me a couple of martinis and Ione Skye in a room. And I'm not saying I wouldn't. Never say never. It's just not been my MO thus far in life.
Understandable. Understood. I mean, heck, a first experience with Ione Skye would be pretty hard to beat after that. I mean,
true.
Where could you go from there?
That's so true. Honestly, I'd probably be like, I gotta at least try it.
Right here.
Then when the hurdy-gurdy man came singing song.
Her parents lived together with the two kids until Ione was like maybe 1, 2. And then Donovan said, I think you should go back and live in America. And I'm going to go pursue the girlfriend and baby mama of Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones and win her back. And he is still married to her to this day.
Wow. Yeah.
Because Brian Jones died right before that. So convenient for Donovan,
Yeah. Well, they were still together when I don't think he had died yet. When
he
Donovan
died in 1969. So Brian Jones died in 1969. And so and Ione Skye was born in 1970. Girlfriend
is kind of why she grew up without a dad.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think regardless, I don't think Donovan was sticking around in that deal.
No, I think he needed like a hippie goddess.
Yep.
To I don't know, help him read tarot cards.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously
sing to the wind.
There's obviously two sides to that story. There's the side of Ione's mom, and I'm assuming their family, which is Donovan is a jerk. He had these kids. He decided he didn't want us anymore, and he sent us to America, and we never had contact with him again. And then there's the other side of the story that from Donovan and his wife of, oh, no, we tried to include you and stuff, but your mom was like so bitter and angry and so negative and whatever, and we just couldn't deal with her anymore, and it's her fault. So they each have a side on that one, apparently, and clearly none of us were there, but it does seem like maybe the Ione Skye family story sounds a little bit more realistic, but you never know. I don't know. But not much of a relationship with Dad.
No.
Throughout the
years. And then it was sad because Dono went to one of his concerts and met him and was with a little boy. And Donovan said, "Oh, is this the girl?" And when
I forgot that part.
It's so sad. It's like he doesn't even speak directly to who he thinks is the girl, which is actually a little boy. And then when Dono tells Ione as gently as possible what happened, she's just devastated. Like, he didn't use my name. That's a boy. I'm a girl. And I don't know, just that sort of cavalier nature of it, I think describes their relationship pretty well early on.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that rock stars who are much more significant and much more famous, like Mick Fleetwood and Mick Jagger and these guys, they find time to know who their kids are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't just abandon them. Was Donovan so busy throughout the 70s and 80s he didn't have time? Bullshit. Guy's not a hit since 1971 or something.
Right. Near as big as the guys you mentioned before.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's like a clear choice. He just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it wasn't like he was so busy or he was so whatever. If Mick Jagger could find the time to track down all of his kids, and he's probably got like a dozen, then, you know, what's his name? Donovan could find his two. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed with you, Dave.
Yes.
You know, and that actually does bring up another music connection. Ione Skye was BFFs with Karis Jagger, became friends with Jade Jagger, and then also really tight with Amelia Fleetwood, Mick Fleetwood's daughter. So she, I mean, for better or worse, saw that, oh, your rock star dad actually can be in your life and be a good guy.
You're not just the girl.
Right. Yeah.
That's the boy.
They know your name.
Yeah, exactly.
I did love how she talked about having dinner at Mick Jagger's place, and that he was just this person that when he spoke to you, you just felt like, oh my God, he's amazing and I feel so special. And then he turns away and you're like, oh, it's over. Yeah. And it just sounded like he was so fun to be with at that dinner. And they were all going to dress for dinner. Like Jade's like, "What are you wearing to dinner?" And she's like, this. I don't know. It just seems kind of cool.
She obviously, her longing for this connection with her dad is a big factor in her problem with relationships. In my opinion, we're going to get to that obviously, but her search for daddy for most of her life led her on a quest of very questionable choices in terms of relationships. And that obviously affected her if she had a solid parental figure.
I think for her, with him being so public and being so present and all of these people she's hanging out with, where their fathers and like the Zappas, the Moon Zappa people, they know the dad, they know Donovan. So it's like she's almost there with him, but she's not. Do you know what I mean? Like she's like, it's like there's this block, which is basically Donovan not wanting to be in their lives, but yet she's really close to him.
And it does have to hurt to know that all these people know your dad and you really don't.
Yes, exactly.
What did you guys think about her relationship with her mom? Do you feel like it was early on? How would you characterize it?
I would say at that time, her mom, she had a lot of independence. And I think they bolted. A bulk of that was because their mom was off doing her stuff. I mean, it sounds like everything happened. The mom was very young, but I don't know. She was young, wasn't she? Yes, she was young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the mom had her own deals going, and I think they were kids in Hollywood, and there was all sorts of stuff going on around them, and her mom just kind of let them be.
Ione was hung up on Donovan because that was her father and she didn't know him, right? But the mother was hung up on Donovan because this was a failed relationship and she was pissed about it and left her with 2 kids and not a whole lot else. She was definitely in a different place than Ione was. And I don't know whether that affected how she dealt with her kids or whatever. I mean, it seemed like they had a good relationship. I mean,
yeah, it sounded like it got better with time. And this could just be me, but she refers to her as Enid for the most part instead of mom or my mom. And I don't know, again, this could just be me, but I always wonder when a kid calls their parent by their first name, it gives me this feeling of the parent is separate from the child because you're not naming that relationship. It just feels like there was some distance between her. Like I recognize that Enid has her life and Enid happens to be my mom. It was how I felt about it.
That's valid.
I don't know. I sort of thought it was LA hippie bullshit where a lot of kids call their parents by their first name because his parents don't want to discipline their children and say, you know what, I'm your fucking father. Don't call me Dave. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that's a lot of what it is. It's just bullshit permissiveness. And I wouldn't put too much into it, but I could be wrong. It could be something else entirely, but I think it's LA hippie nonsense personally.
And if anyone from LA is watching, please weigh in and let us know if this is accurate.
I think it's just a cool name. And
Yeah.
it just sounded cool. Like, hey, I went over to my mom's. I went over to Enid's. It just sounds better. I don't know, though.
True. And they had names for all of the places they lived, which I loved that.
Yeah.
I don't think Enid was a bad mom at all. I just think,
she was.
I don't think she was a bad mom. I think she did the best she could for sure.
Yeah, totally.
But it felt like early on there was maybe not that closeness that a lot of mothers and daughters would have. Well, what about Dono? I loved her relationship with her brother.
Same.
It felt like those two stuck together. You know, like we may not have a dad in our life and our mom might be, like busy trying to make a life for us, but we have each other and we have each other's backs.
Absolutely. Yes. I thought they had a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, they had a good relationship, I guess. I don't, the guy aside from being like a he did some acting a little bit. He did some
Mhm.
modeling. He dabbled in a lot of shit, which is another child of Hollywood thing. You can afford to be a dabbler.
Yes.
You don't actually
We'll
have
get
to
to
do
that more with
anything.
Ione later.
Would you
Right,
would you call
right.
him a would you
Her
call him a
brother
Lloyd dabbler?
Well, look, I get the joke, but I would say
You're like, I get the joke. It's not funny, but anyway.
I thought it was kind of cute.
Ione was a dabbler who then took it more seriously, and that became her career. Her brother was a dabbler who just remained a dabbler. I mean, I don't know what he does these days, but he's tried being in bands, he's tried acting, he's modeled, he's done all this stuff. Look, whatever he does, it's working for him because he's bagging women like Susanna Hoffs and what's her name that we talked about before with dated the Gwyneth Paltrow and some of these other women. I mean, look, he's obviously doing something right, but in terms of a career, yeah, I don't know. But their relationship was good. Him and Ione. I mean,
Yeah.
And he
for
was
sure.
married to Christy Hume for a long time until like 2014.
oh really?
Yeah, she's
I knew they were married. I didn't know it was like I figured it was like a 1 year thing.
I know when they talk about it in the book, she gets married to him when she's like 20. But it obviously lasted a lot longer than we would have thought. Good thing we didn't place bets on that.
Yeah, because we would have lost.
Came singing songs.
She's 15 and they have this relationship with the Zappas where Dono and Moon Unit were friends. And then eventually Ione was accepted into the fold and spent a little time with Dweezil. But Moon Unit recommended that she try out for the part in River's Edge. And are you guys fans of that movie? Because I was obsessed with that movie as a teenager. It was one of those that me and my friends watched like over and over. To be honest, I forgot that she was in that until she talked about it in the book.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that was a very well known movie, very like loved and everything, but she is best known for Say Anything, clearly. I mean, that's
Mhm.
what people think that she first appeared. There was The Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon, which was kind of a silly teen movie that I'm sure I saw back in the 80s. I think that was Matthew Perry's first movie or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And there was that too, but I mean, Say Anything blew everything up from her whole career. And again, I'll point out that's why the title is what it is. Not like Living on the River's Edge or whatever, like.
Well, yeah. So River's Edge then took her to Say Anything, where Cameron Crowe had written it, and it was going to be his directorial debut, and he was looking for sort of this ingenue for a part. And what I thought was really interesting is that when she tried out, she played it as like a super preppy kind of snobby, too cool for school character. And he was like, that's not it. And so then she tries out again, and it's he's like, play it just genuinely, like just, I mean, don't try, just feel the feelings and be the character. And I think she really did a beautiful job of that in the movie.
She kind of was though too cool for school, like whatever sort of character. Like that character she's the smartest girl in the class. She's the valedictorian. She's the most beautiful girl. She's super aloof from everyone else. She's not in any of the social cliques and any of the groups. And when Lloyd gets her to go to that party, everyone's in shock. Whoa, you got Diane, what's her name, to come to a party? Like
show pony.
She doesn't go to parties, whatever.
Remember that line?
What's that?
Diane Court. Sorry, she's a show pony. She's a show pony. I mean, it's like so good. I use that all the time. I use that expression all the time. I'm like, oh, so and so is a show pony.
Yeah. So I mean, she was almost kind of too cool for school. Like she was the elite of the elite, like, and even Lloyd didn't think he could ever go out with her.
She didn't think she was better than everybody else. Like, I think she played it as though this is what people think of me, I know, but I've just been busy trying to, build this academic life that my father has dreamed of for me. And, it's not that like everybody else sucks and they're not good enough. It's just that I've been living this totally different life than normal high school kids.
Yeah. I think if like a group of girls asked Diane Court to go hang out, she would have gone. No one
Yeah.
ever asked her though. That's the thing. That's the
Right.
fun of all this stuff. Is
Yeah,
they're like,
she
"Oh,
wouldn't
well,
have
she's
turned her
not gonna
nose up.
go." No, she would have gone in a heartbeat.
Right. It's just that, like you said, yeah, they would never
They
would have
just were
asked.
like, because she was a show pony. You don't go near the
Right.
show pony.
Yeah, you don't take those out and ride them in the
No.
pasture.
No, you just look at them.
Right. You tie a bow
Aw.
on their tail.
Yes,
You braid their mane.
exactly. That's the next thing I was going to say.
Braid the mane.
Yeah, braid the mane.
Braid the mane.
No, I mean, she played it right. That's her most iconic role. Clearly, she did it the right way, and the movie is considered iconic. It's like part of the reason why John Cusack was such a big deal in the 80s was because of this movie. He did a lot of others too, but this was another big one for him, and he was for a long time like one of my favorite actors. He still kind of is. I mean, I still like him a lot, but I don't really keep up with what he does these days. But
So this is confession time for me.
okay.
I couldn't remember if I'd actually seen Say Anything.
Whoa.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
Oof.
I know. It's listen, that's the reaction I expected. But so I rewatched it and I still don't know if I've seen it before.
Oh.
Because here's what's weird. I love it.
Ben and I were in high school, and it was kind of an iconic film for us in that era of the 80s in high school and stuff. I know, Shelley, you're a little bit younger, so maybe it wasn't at your era, and it just kind of missed it at the time, perhaps.
It could have been.
I mean, I was in junior high, and I know that people liked it. But here's the thing: I might have. But I watched it, and I was like, there's certain scenes that rang a bell, but I also watched it not knowing what was going to happen. So I don't know. It could be a flaw of my own memory. We're not shocked about that, but rewatching it, or watching it for the first time, whatever. I really liked it, and I thought it was really interesting too, knowing that John Cusack was really involved in the choices that were made for his character, and how it was just interesting to hear the behind the scenes from Ione Skye of what went down in that movie. And I think maybe one of the biggest revelations though was that the iconic boombox scene, originally the song was supposed to be, see, there we are. Yeah. Originally the song was supposed to be a Fishbone song. And
that was his choice. That was John Cusack's choice.
And the song that then ended up being was In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel. Much different song. We're talking about Fishbone is like kind of like, I don't know, punk ska.
No, I think there were a couple of choices before they got to finally In Your Eyes, which is what worked. But yeah, if the Fishbone had been the choice, and I'm saying this as a lover of Fishbone, that would not have worked.
No,
that scene would not have been iconic like that. It would have looked like a joke. If he's standing outside of her window holding up a boombox playing Fishbone, are you fucking kidding me? How dumb would that have been? Like, that just it would not have worked at all. At least it had to be a somewhat romantic song. You can't have a Party at Ground Zero or whatever the Fishbone they were going to play. Like, how is that going to be appropriate? Or that you're that one song, you lion ass bitch, or UGLY, you ain't got no. I mean, those are the early Fishbone songs. That's what he would have been playing. Like, are you kidding me? That wouldn't have worked.
No.
Yeah.
Cameron Crowe is so good with his music in every one of his films. I mean, his music is always spot on. I always get the soundtracks. I mean, from Say Anything to singles.
He thinks about it ahead of time.
Sure, he does.
This music should be for this part, and this should be for this part. And it feels like with a lot of movies, it's an afterthought. Mm-hmm. They just put it in to make it fit or whatever, and they don't really think, oh no, this scene should have this. For sure. Yeah, Cameron Crowe. That's why he's really good with that stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
And he talked about how he would even play certain songs to inspire them for that day's shoot. Not necessarily music that was in the movie, but just to put them in the mood they needed to be in for those scenes, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, totally.
she has a storied past in terms of both the people that she has dated and then her relationships with them. Wasn't always a solid path for her. So I'm going to start with Flea because I feel like that was really the first person she talked about being interested in. And she was, I mean, what?
Hold up.
No?
Keanu.
Oh, she just talked about him in the yes.
But that never really went anywhere though. That was just like she attempted and he kind of hung out with her but brushed her off. Like they kissed for a second and then he was kind of like, yeah, maybe because she was like 15 or something and he was a bit older.
Yeah.
And was just like, I'm not going there because he's a class act and not like Anthony Kiedis, who's like 15 up, almost too old, but okay, let's go. You know, anyways.
Yeah, we'll get more into that. Shelley, resume.
Yeah, so Keanu was kind of a little bit of crush.
Yeah, Keanu was great. Obviously, they met in River's Edge and were scene partners. And I do think that he stopped because of her age. And he seemed like he was just trying to be a good guy.
Yes.
Yeah. And my God, what I wouldn't have done to have that experience with Keanu as a teenager.
Look, I've heard Keanu Reeves is a nice person, like is not one of these Hollywood dickheads who just think he's better than everybody and whatever. Like he is supposedly a genuinely nice person. So it's not surprising that he was like, yeah, you're cute and all, but you're a kid and I'm an adult and this is not gonna happen, you know?
Right. Yeah, and then there was Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they, had some makeout sessions, and, she seemed to be really into him, but he also had a girlfriend in Canada, a real one, not just like,
I think a fiance even maybe at some point. They were engaged.
Yes.
Too, yeah.
Yeah, then they ended up getting back together, and that's why Ione never really got to full on date Flea, but he did introduce her to Anthony Kiedis. Whoa, what a shit show. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Anthony Kiedis is, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I think he's a dirtbag. He is the weak link in the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're a decent band and he's the worst member of it because all he does is skip it a do blah, 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 where the band is like these incredible musicians and he's just doing this bullshit flow. He sounds like he's a 12-year-old moron when he cites his lyrics and stuff. It's just he's not that good. And the fact that right when you started dating him, you catch him fucking some groupie, like right, like why is that not such a red flag that you're like, I'm not gonna be dealing with this guy anymore? Like, I don't know. To me, like there were so many red flags with that guy that she saw and just decided to ignore. And that's kind of her MO for a long time of seeing these red flags and just being like, Well, I can fix them. I can fix them.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you.
You can't.
Here's the thing. She's okay. So she's young. She always had a dude. She was and some women as well. But and that's fine. But she always seemed to, and she talks about this. She always wants a project. She always wants to make it work. She always wants to fix it. And with the Kiedis thing, I mean,
and she can't handle being alone either. That was another thing. Was she cannot stand being alone, so she always wants to fill that space with something, a relationship, friends.
Sure, and she's so young, and she's driving around, getting him out of like horrible situations, drug situations, finding him in the most random places. I mean, that wasn't a relationship. That was a lesson in who you don't want to babysit ever.
Right. Yes. She's a confused teenager who's
absolutely
hung up on some older guy, and he is a scumbag junkie rock star who knows exactly what he's doing, and he's stringing this girl along while he's banging groupies and doing all of this other stuff.
He's using her.
He's not. That was very one-sided, and he was shitty in it, and she wasn't. And the fact that she's more forgiving of him than he deserves just shows she's a nicer person, I suppose.
Yeah.
If she looks back on that as like, oh, I wish I could have helped him. That guy was beyond help. Okay. I mean, he's had so many relapses. This was before he even wrote Under the Bridge. Right?
Under
That's a
the
good
Bridge was
song.
about that time.
Right,
Like she
right.
literally would like drive around looking under bridges.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is before that.
When he
So-
was out on just like a total heroin binge.
But I think some of the behind the scenes with the Chili Pepper stuff was kind of interesting. And Hillel Slovak, who I remember he was the original guitar player who OD'd in 1987 and was very, very close with them. It was Flea, him, and Anthony. And when Hillel died, that just absolutely changed the whole nature of the band. I thought hearing a little bit about that stuff was interesting, just as I was a fan of Chili Peppers back at that time, and I remember when Hillel died. So I think that part was pretty interesting. But the relationship with Anthony was just proves how much of a dirtbag he is.
Exactly.
And did you also remember? Okay, so Anthony Kiedis' dad, Blackie, who everybody says is kind of a dirtbag and was bad news, was also in the Mark Lanigan book because Mark Lanigan had an experience where he went to Blackie's house for a party, and it was super creepy and weird and whatever. So
he went into the bathroom and it was all pictures of Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah.
There's nothing like whipping it out to pee and looking at photos of Anthony Kiedis.
So
that is
weird.
True. That is true.
I bet Anthony Kiedis is exactly the same today as he was then. Maybe a little bit more sober. Maybe
I was going to say, if he's not clean, then absolutely.
I mean,
he's had a couple of relapses. I don't know what his current status is. I'm not trying to say that I know. I don't know, but he has gotten clean and then had relapses, as most addicts do.
I do want to say something in defense of Ione Skye and her relationship with him, though. So, yes, she was young. And yes, it was a totally dysfunctional relationship, but she also didn't really have much relationship experience before that.
Yeah.
And also, I imagine that if you don't have a relationship with your dad and you wish that you did, and you don't have any control over whether you do or not, being in a situation with Anthony Kiedis, she probably on some level felt like at least I can try to do something about this one. Like maybe this is the one I have control over and I can keep.
But I'm going to add something. Her mother said, you know what? Bring your heroin addicted boyfriend and move on in. We'll just drive around and get him. You can go score with him.
Parenting.
So, for her mother to say, oh, it's okay. He treats you like shit. He cheats on you. He's a heroin
But he's
addict.
a rock star and he's famous.
He's in his 20s, and you're 12. Bring him on in. It's fine. He can live with us. You can drive it. I'll drive around with you. We'll clean him up. So
and she's probably thinking, hey, don't lose your rock star boyfriend the way I lost my rock star boyfriend.
Don't fuck it up like I did. Don't
all
fuck it up.
Donovan's fault is my
point. Mom.
Yeah. And the wrong lessons learned by Enid. But
yeah.
I mean, she was young, naive, whatever, all those things. That's true. She does talk about, I don't know. I know the situation was different in the 80s, but do you have unprotected sex with a heroin user? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And it's like, yeah, I think people knew that even in 1988. Like, I don't think that was shocking information. Like, that should have been a little bit more, she's the luckiest person out there that she's not dead from HIV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I say I love a few Donovan songs and have for a really long time, but in anticipation of this episode, I thought maybe I'll, look around his catalog and listen to a few other things.
Oh,
Holy fucking terrible.
It's horrible.
Like just hippie, just nonsense. I'm singing to the wind. Like it's just
weird.
The
like
Butthole
that.
Surfers do an amazing version of Hurdy Gurdy Man.
Yeah, they do.
That is, I think, better than the original even. And I like the original. The original is good, but the Butthole Surfers cover Hurdy Gurdy Man and do it amazing. It is so good. And Husker Du covers Sunshine Superman, which is also also
just a second.
And those are the two good songs that Don.
Yeah.
Maybe there's four, according to Jen.
Like, I don't even think I was married yet, but I was with my husband. We went to see Mellencamp at CHI Quest, whatever it was back then. I'm a big Mellencamp fan. I don't think that would surprise anyone who really
I saw
listens
him in
to
the
it.
80s.
It was like, but Mellencamp did this thing where like, I think he had Donovan play at intermission. So like he started out, took a break, Donovan did his set, and then he went back. So, I mean,
Oh.
that is brilliant. It's a way to ensure that people are going to stay. Like, literally, I'm like, oh, I know this. I'm like, Jennifer Juniper and all those songs that use my name. My husband goes, I can't do this. I can't do this. And he got up. He's like, I can't, I don't know what this is.
Her next big relationship is Adam Horovitz from the Beastie Boys. And when they meet, it is just sparks. It is a deep connection. And she's like, I've met the love of my life.
Well, and he's actually a good guy. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not a scumbag like Anthony Kiedis or whatever, these other guys. He does seem like a much nicer person. I mean, I'm sure he had a little edge in the 90s too, or late 80s, early 90s. I mean, not everybody he's mellowed out significantly over the years, but he does seem like a decent guy. And if you're going to go for a rock star, I think he must be one of the good ones.
Yeah.
He really does seem like a great guy. And his friend, his best female friend, pulls Ione aside and says, don't hurt him. He is genuinely one of the good ones. Do not hurt him.
And she did.
Oh, completely.
Like kind of get at him.
Yeah, this is where her whole, I'm just an innocent whatever kind of goes off the rails and she acknowledges it in the book. She was a shitty wife to Adam Horovitz. I mean, absolutely a terrible spouse. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know whether Adam Horovitz was out banging groupies, but she was having all these girlfriends and doing all of this other stuff. And it's in her mind, it was exactly the same. It's not like, it's different with girls. She was claiming her sexuality or her bisexuality or whatever. And she was in legitimate relationships with other women while she was married. Like, I'm sorry. That's not cool. Just because it's not another man. Doesn't make it any less cheating or any less adulterous.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear her say anything about Adam doing something similar, like being with another woman or anything like that. And he had plenty of opportunities going out on tour with the Beastie Boys. He had plenty of opportunities, but he didn't.
Sure.
He chose not to. So,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing with her. They were so young. I mean, and if you remember with their honeymoon, they were like, we're kind of bored with each other. Where are our friends? Oh, all of our friends are in, Paris, or we're going to go hang out with them. And they're both like, yes, please. So they were so young. And every time he was on the road or wherever he was touring, she seemed to pacify her behavior and her female relationship. What was the woman's name? Lisa? I think it was Lisa, wasn't it?
Alice was the first one, I think.
Okay. And then there was one she was like really into. The
one Maylee.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know where I got Lisa from. Maybe Lisa and Wendy. I don't know. Anyway, but the thing about that was she like, it seemed like while she felt bad, she kept going back for more because she was so lonely. And I think she was able to justify her affairs by, oh, well, I'm alone. He left me. He's on tour. They were so young. She was so young. She didn't claim any responsibility for anything.
Yeah.
I don't think she had the tools to. I don't think
looking back, she does now sort of.
Right.
Yeah, looking back, she does now sort of like.
Yeah, yes, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, at the time she lacked the tools to do that. But I just think it's got to be like, yeah, she's young, but people used to get married at like 17 and stay married their whole lives. So, I mean, not that I'm advocating that. I'm just saying she was married at like 21, 22. She wasn't a child. And I think she's finally now taking responsibility for her actions. I mean, she was a shitty spouse. And considering the tie-in to the Kathleen Hanna book and what we learned about how their relationship started, I took the position of, she was coming in and taking this guy from Ione Skye. Nuh-uh. No, I see that in a whole new light now, and I was
Yeah.
wrong to make any assumptions about Kathleen Hanna. It's clear that Ione was the one who basically abandoned their marriage. She was pursuing all these other relationships, and he was being very cool about it. Yeah, they were kind of having this little minimal intimacy, but not sexual, just like flirting a little bit and writing letters to each other. But that's all he did. She wasn't. Ione Skye did a lot worse, and now I sort of see it as like, yeah, he was wronged, and it's good for him that he moved on.
Yeah.
To be clear, you said he was wronged, not he was wrong. Yeah.
Wronged.
Yeah.
He was wronged.
Well, and major props to Kathleen Hanna for the way that she handled it in the book. She could have talked mad shit on Ione Skye.
Right, because she knows a lot more than she said.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. All she said in her book about the disillusion of Adam Horowitz's marriage was they were struggling and like just things weren't going well. She didn't even say who he was married to. She could have said, yeah, his, cheating ass wife was running all over town and
his wife's out touring with all these women. Like, what is she doing that, but no, she was very polite about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it does seem like Ad Rock did try to do his best to not let things start with Kathleen before things with Ione were over.
He's amazing. He's just a great dude.
So the relationship with her first husband wraps up, we'll say. Yeah. It takes a very, very long time. And she still to this day is saying that he was, kind of the love of her life and she'll never get over him, which made me feel really sad for her current husband.
Oh, I felt really bad when he was when she was saying that stuff about how that was her real. And then, and then I got this other husband who's mentioned in the last 20 pages of the book or something. You know what I mean? Like such a minimal part of the story. And they've been married for like 15 years or whatever, so much longer than the other one was. But yeah, I hear you. That was a little, it'd be hard for me to read,
Yeah. Although it does seem like she applied the lessons she learned in her first marriage to her second marriage and has been a lot more successful in that.
Yeah. I'd probably rather be married to Ione Skye today than in like 1991 or something where she was just, out with every single chick and that she could hook up with. Mm-hmm. And while I'm on the road abstaining, supposedly, we don't know. I mean, but I assume he will.
When the hurdy-gurdy man came singing song.
British David.
Oh,
yeah.
David.
This was a weird one. I didn't understand the nature of that relationship at all. That just seemed like she was looking to get her MRS degree. And I want somebody with money and someone that's going to take care of me. And now I'm no longer pursuing artists or anyone interesting or whatever. I'm just going with some rich business guy who is going to take care of me. Like, that's how I saw that relationship. They didn't have anything in common. I don't know. I mean,
the one thing they had in common was upon first meeting, they discussed wanting to be married and have a child. And somehow that became this contract between them.
Yeah, that was
so like, we're going to just start trying right now. I was like, holy shit.
Yep. Well, the guy was such a dick too. Like when he said like, oh, I thought you were more famous than this or whatever. Like when he was putting her down for like, when they went out to dinner and her friend was like saying, oh, you were in Say Anything like a long time ago. And he was just like, I thought you were more famous than that.
Yeah. And he's like, why do you talk about that? That's in the past. Like, I just don't. Yeah. There's a clear reason why that didn't work out, but she has a daughter from him. So
yeah, they have a kid. So they have a relationship still to this day. But
I think that's just kind of a testament to how she would just kind of grasp to what was in front of her. Like she would just try to kind of make things work. This is something that it sounded like they both wanted. So he's not a musician. I'm just going to make this happen.
I did tip you guys off that I wasn't a huge fan of the book. And it's not because Ione Skye's writing isn't good. I mean, she's a talented writer or whatever, but I just felt like her career is not significant enough to warrant a fucking memoir. Like anyone can write a memoir of their life if they want to. But for me, when I'm looking back, take out 4 movies or whatever. And her thing is she dated a bunch of other people. And that's going to be you can say that's harsh or whatever, but the fact is what I learned after reading 200 and some odd pages of this book or whatever it is, was that Ione Skye is a decent actress. She's very pretty. She's a little flighty, and she's dated a lot of cool rock stars.
I mean, I think that's fair.
I do think her life story is interesting, though.
Yes.
But
yeah.
I agree with you to a certain extent, Dave, because I felt like the book was very much driven by her relationships with people. So it wasn't really like as much, here's what I was doing and I did this and this. It was like I was in this relationship and then I was in that relationship and then the next relationship.
Yes. Yeah.
And maybe that was an editorial choice. Like the editor wanted her to focus more on that than your method of getting into character and for whatever, I mean, maybe that's more interesting to the average reader or something, but like, I don't know. Your life is a series of relationships. That's true. But in order for you to be somebody that I want to read about, there's got to be more than that. Everybody's in relationships. That's not significant. So I just felt like it started getting really light on the acting and the stuff that she's pursuing, the art or whatever, became second, third, Nate. I mean, it became way in the background to this is who I'm dating now. And that sort of thing. That was a lot of it. And that's what kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit with the book, which I realize I am jumping ahead because we're not at that point, but just the moment he got there, I had to seize the moment.
Jen, did you like it? I know you really wanted to read it.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I liked it a lot. It's just interesting. You know me. I like to kind of dig for some dirt, and I like to know.
Well, there's a lot of juice in this book.
There's so much juice in this book.
A lot of juice.
But like the funniest part to me was how she kept going back to people that she worked with. Like after Adam and before Ben, she hooked up with John Cusack. Like years later, remember that she was like,
and then she's like, I checked that one off my list.
Yeah, basically. And then she was like, and then we listened to one of our favorite musicians, Liz Phair. I'm like, oh, there she is. There's that bitch in every freaking book. There she is, Liz Phair.
And I don't know if this was in the book or if it's something that I saw on YouTube, but she was texting with Matthew Perry like right before he died. Like the day he died or the day before, she had texted with him. And so they were still in kind of communication. But that's another, she dodged that bullet because that guy was trouble.
Sure. But she's just looking for love, she'd go hook up.
Or just like a sex contract. Yeah. She's like, well, Matthew Perry, we did it once. Should we have a standing Thursday appointment?
Yeah, right. Should we do this every week?
I'm not exaggerating. This is in the book.
Yeah, it was. It was. I think she's a good person. I think at the end of the day,
let me clarify that. I didn't think her life was necessarily that much like significant enough for like a book discussion because I thought it was mostly just like she's a okay actress and whatever who was an iconic at one point, but she doesn't seem like a bad person. She seems like a nice person. She had an interesting life. I mean, there's a lot of good anecdotes and a lot of cool stories, and her brother dating all these models and, all of this other. I mean, there's a lot of interesting anecdotes. It's just for me, like she comes off more as a celebrity as opposed to like an actor.
I get it.
There's a difference. You know what I mean?
I get it. Yeah.
That's how I would say it. It's more like a celebrity thing, but
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, her relationship with Ben Lee, her current husband, seems very good.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like she was Goldilocks, and she tried the porridge that was too hot with Anthony Kiedis, and then she tried the porridge that was too cold with David, and then she ate the good porridge, but like put hot sauce or something on it with Adam, and then finally with Ben Lee, she got it right and ate the just right temperature of porridge.
Yes.
And is enjoying it to this day.
Yes.
Yeah. He does seem like a good guy, and they seem like they have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah.
And he's not a junkie rock star. He's a singer-songwriter, but not necessarily a rock star or a junkie. He's just kind of on that level, but good for her. I mean, finally.
Yeah.
It did make me feel really happy for her. And they, Dave, you sent us a video that was a home tour with Ben Lee, and she's in it. Which, first of all, when she was engaged to David, they did this Vogue home tour, and she overheard one of the photographers saying, "This is usually the kiss of death." Yeah. People like get divorced like days later. So I was shocked that she would want to do the home tour with Ben Lee. But it seems like they live a very just creative life together. They have a podcast together. They produce other podcasts. They produce recordings for musicians. They have a home where they entertain and have just a lot of creative people around. And it seems very lovely, and it seems like they just are a very happy family. And
they gave their kid the master bedroom in the house.
Did
you see that part of the tour? They gave their kid the master bedroom so she could have a big space to have all her friends over.
So that she could like have her own entertaining space while they were in their big entertaining space.
Not a bad idea.
I would love to have had a bedroom like that when I was a teenager.
That would have been cool. It would have been nice.
With like a bar and a couple of really cool couches and a big screen.
Stocked bar.
Then when the hurdy-gurdy man came singing a song.
All right, listen, I'm going to do it. Awesome. Okay. So my minute is just to acknowledge something in the book that she doesn't talk a lot about, but it's certainly a presence. And that was the focus on her weight and body image. And it made me really sad to hear how not only did people say, should you be eating that off the craft services table? But also that one of the people was a female director who really was a feminist and still was a person that said to her, don't eat too much of that. And I have to believe that was just one of many instances in her life that happened. And I think it was a smart choice of her to not focus too much on it because it's total bullshit. But it just makes me sad because all of these actresses are so beautiful and have these perfect bodies. And then in Say Anything, she's handed the now equivalent of Spanx to wear under her clothes. Yeah. And it's like, she's 15, 16 years old. I mean, my God.
I mean, it was the 80s, but yeah, it's still ridiculous.
It was the 80s. Yes.
Oh, it's
but I don't feel like we've made any difference. It's like, Spanx exist, Skims exist. Like there's, I don't know. So that just made me feel really sad for her. And now let's talk about the wolf, the lamb, and the ultimate survivor. And by wolf and lamb, for those of you who don't know, essentially we're talking about the person in the book who we think is most terrible, the wolf, sort of the predator. Then the lamb is the most likable or sweet. And then the ultimate survivor is pretty self-explanatory. So, Jen, do you want to kick us off with your wolf, lamb, and survivor?
I love that part. Okay.
I know, it's my favorite part too.
The wolf, in addition to Liz Phair, is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh,
I mean,
ooh.
I mean, just stop. So, in my opinion, that's the wolf. The lamb, I'm going to say, is probably either Adam or Dono.
Oh,
Adam. I'm going to pick Adam because he's just lovely. Okay. He's just lovely.
Yes.
And the ultimate survivors, I'm actually going to say this. It is, I think it's Dono and Ione. I think their relationship is the survival of this. I really
love that.
So Gwyneth and Liz, Adam, and then the siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me just say that Gwyneth is still a wolf. And here's why. There's this super cute chair. Can't remember if it's on Crate and Barrel or CB2. It's so cute and I want it. But it's by Goop and it's like $3,500.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Gwyneth, come on. Get over yourself. Don't you have enough money?
I know. No shit. Okay. So my wolf would be Anthony Kiedis.
Oh, him
I think
too.
he's the biggest dirtbag in the whole
Yeah.
book, and he knew what he was doing was wrong. He's hooking up with a 16-year-old girl. He's an adult. Okay, he should know better. The Lamb, this was a tough one, but God, I don't even know. This is like a very difficult one. I'm gonna say the Lamb is maybe Adam. I mean, I was gonna say Ben Lee, but that's still a story still being told, and Adam's story, his part of the story is already over, and I think he was definitely wronged, and
Mhm.
he comes out great, so he's my Lamb. Ultimate survivor is going to be Ione herself because she's still here. All of us were under the impression that her movie career was largely over 30 years ago. And now we find out, no, she's been working this whole time. She's still doing this stuff. She's producing podcasts. She's producing all this shit. So she's still doing something, and she's still very active. And when you say the name Ione Skye, people still remember the name. They do know who she was. And that's something. I mean, you don't get that with Marsha Plimpton. Just saying. Not as many people know the name right off the bat.
Did you call her Marsha Plimpton?
Martha.
Martha.
It's Martha.
Plimpton. Sorry, see, I don't even know her name. I don't even know her name.
I love her. I think she's so fantastic.
She's great,
Martha
but I mean,
Plimpton.
I'm using her as an example of like not everyone knows who she is.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the name Ione Skye, people are like, oh, say anything, right? Like they just remember. So she'd be my ultimate survivor.
Everything.
Say everything in this case, yes.
I'm just
She's my ultimate survivor.
And Ione, despite having all of these difficult relationships and, daddy issues or whatever, she has landed in what seems like a very loving, monogamous, long-term relationship. And that's not always hard when you grow up the way that she did, or always easy rather, when you grow up the way that she did. So I agree with all of your choices. These are all ones that I kind of had on my list too. So I'm going to say something different for each of one just to mix it up. Okay.
Okay.
Can't wait.
So I'm going to say the Lamb is Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Mostly because I had a huge crush on him when I was a teenager, and my friend Katie and I.
Teaser. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right? I mean, he's just so sweet and gentle and handsome. And I watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure about 1 million times when I was a teenager. And so I can't help but love him. So I'm going to say he's the Lamb. The Wolf, I mean, Anthony is obvious. What a piece of shit. I'm gonna say, I mean, I think David could have been in there if he didn't turn out to be such a great dad.
Yeah.
Because he was just so cold and didn't mince words, and it just seemed like, I don't know, he just seemed like kind of a dick. But I think, drugs in general could also be the Wolf. And then I'm going to say ultimate survivor. Yes, definitely Ione and Dono. I think Enid too, because, she got booted out of England by her rock star boyfriend, couldn't get over him forever, raised 2 kids mostly on her own, and worked through her own issues, and is also now in a loving relationship. So I think Enid should get a few props too.
I could have had the Wolf as Donovan himself, because he was pretty shitty.
Oh my God, why the fuck didn't any of us have Donovan?
Yeah, none of us put Donovan as the Wolf. He's an honorary wolf.
Yeah. With that music, I think he's just, ugh. Yeah. The
wolf is his spirit animal.
Yeah.
That's who he sings to the moon with.
Does he have any hippie songs about wolves?
Probably.
The water, the wind.
Then when the hurdy-gurdy man came singing song.
Like I kind of alluded to earlier, I think she seems like a nice person, and I've always sort of liked her, but I came out of this book thinking that she's just more of a celebrity type and not really like a more serious artist to me. And that was where the impression I came off of, where I had no impression of her before. I didn't really know. now I see her as just being like a celebrity with an interesting story to tell. But I this wasn't one of my favorite books, and not because it wasn't well done or whatever. I mean, it was presented fine, but I just she doesn't seem like as someone of as much consequence or substance as we have read in our 17 previous books.
Okay, Jen.
You know, I think she's I think she really needs to hold on to Ben Lee, and because he's amazing. I think she's, she was just kind of a lost little girl and was trying to find her way, and she's got some talent and she utilized all of it, and she still is utilizing it. I think she's fine. I mean, I don't have a huge draw to her, but I enjoyed it. I would have read it regardless if we would have done it for book club or not. But yeah, I think she's surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like her after reading the book. Although, as we know, I'm kind of a sucker for all of the authors of memoirs. I'm like, they're great. Except Vince Neil, of course. What a piece of shit. And Liz Phair, sadly, did not come off well after her book. I disagree with you a little bit, Dave, though, in that, like, yes, she didn't talk a lot about her methods of acting, and she didn't lean into, the fame side of things in her career. But she is clearly a very creative person. I mean, there are so many different things in her life that are driven by creativity. All the podcasting things and the acting, but also, she talked about drawing and painting. And so I do think she is a deeply creative person. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Same.
Okay. Next book is going to be Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. She is best known by her stage name of Japanese Breakfast. And this is her memoir of being a mixed race. She's Korean and Jewish, and she grows up in, I think, California or in the Northwest. And her mother dies when she's a teenager or maybe in her early 20s. I haven't read the book, obviously, so I don't know the whole story yet. But her mother dies when she was rather young, and it's a lot of the story. I have a feeling it's going to be somewhat sad, but I've been wanting to read this book. I've had it in hardcover for like a year and a half, 2 years, with the intent of reading it. And then I just never did. And then whenever we were ready to do a book and it was my pick, I was always like, I always had something else that I wanted to do first. And now this is the first time where I'm like, you know what? Let's do this, Crying in H Mart. And so that's going to be the next book.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. We hope to see you again next month. All episodes come out on the first of the month. But if you don't want to remember that, subscribe, and also just like smash the hell out of that bell. Just like, just get it. Like, just take that satisfaction of like, you're going to click it and it's going to change color and it's going to feel so good. Give yourself that little bright moment today.
Exactly.
Have a good time.
And if you want to like touch more things and do other things, you can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram.
It is true. The links are below.
Yeah, just search for Rock and Roll Book Club, or we're at RNRBC123 on Insta. So that's it.
That's
Thanks
it.
for joining.
Bye,
Thanks for
guys.
watching.
See ya.
Bye. See you guys soon.